Welcome, everyone, and thanks for hanging out with us here at the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. We have been waiting for May. I feel like this has been on the planner for a while now because we are going to watch each week and then discuss Miss Austen. We read the book, has it been 2 months, I think, now since we did that with the book club. And so now we get to enjoy it fresh in our minds of the book. We get to watch through the show. So we'll be doing one episode each week. Make sure you go ahead and click subscribe now so you don't miss our future videos talking about it. And we want you to join in the comments as well as we were going through. So feel free to be commenting as we're chatting about the episodes. Introductions. My name is Melissa. I am the community manager for the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation community. We have with us Marigold and Mindy. I'll let you each introduce yourself and tell us what you're reading. And I am reading, because I always forget my titles, What Happens in Amsterdam. I just started this morning. It is a romance where he was a exchange student from the Netherlands when she was a teen. He was a teen, brokenhearted as teenagers, separated, and now we have a second chance romance on our hands, and it's really cute so far. I'm enjoying. So, Marigold, I'll kick it over to you and go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you're reading.
Hello, I am Marigold Webb, and I am reading Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney, and it's actually wonderful. I'm learning about the rare bookseller kind of side of books, so it's really interesting, and all the amazing authors that influenced Jane.
Awesome. And Mindy, in the Florida heat, what are you reading this week? Go ahead.
Yes. Hi there. I'm Mindy Kilgrove Harris, and this week I am making my way through the newest entry in El Casamano's Finlay Donovan series, Finlay Donovan Digs Her Own Grave. I love listening to those audiobooks, and I highly recommend the Finlay Donovan series to anybody who likes cozy mystery or romantic suspense. It's kind of a little bit of both.
Those always have the coolest covers. I like seeing the covers of those books.
They are very attractive, and this one's super cute. So but I've been on the list, ever since this came out because I really wanted to make sure I got to listen to it.
You got to be quick now on those library lists so you're not like I am in number 300 and who knows what until I ever see the book that I requested that. Awesome. Well, we're going to keep it snappy and get right to the conversation this evening. But we are going to be talking about, as we said, Miss Austen, episode 1. There will probably be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and save this video and then come back and watch it afterwards. But I think we will be not being careful about the things that we're talking about as we're going. So if spoilers are an issue, now is your warning. Click off, click save, come back and see it after you watch the first episode. All right, we always do a quick little what's happening this week in Jane Austen's world, whether it's with Jane herself, her family, or within her books. And loose time period laid out for Pride and Prejudice has this week as the week that Elizabeth reads Darcy's letter, which is kind of fun to picture her sitting there and flipping through the pages. I don't know if either of you have the special Pride and Prejudice edition from Barbara Heller that has the actual letters in the pockets of it. If you don't, I recommend those books to everyone because it is truly an immersive experience of reading through. I know there's Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion. I have Little Women, and Anne of Green Gables might be in the mix as well. But getting to read through, and then the letters are folded as they would be in the Regency era. Barbara curated the calligraphers that did the letters, so their personality and handwriting matches the characters, and it is just so much fun. So, you get to feel like you're actually holding Darcy's letters in your own hands as much as you ever could. It's good. It's good. I might sleep with it under no, not under my pillow, I promise. I'm not that crazy. All right, so let's go ahead and review what happened in episode 1. Um, we get through the first hour of the show, and in this episode, we're kind of seeing Cassandra is the main character that we're going to be following. So, Marigold, do you want to kind of give us a brief overview of the episode? I know you said you were taking notes as you were watching. um, just a brief story arc of what we had happen in the first episode.
Well, it begins with her and getting a letter from, because I always forget all the character names, so it's always
No worries.
is it Liz? No,
Isabella.
Isabella, that's right. And it's saying how her father is going to pass, but don't come. It'll be fine. But of course she doesn't listen, and she goes and visits anyway because she has a mission to secure all of Jane's letters. So we watch her kind of slip into the rooms, investigate at the same time as um, caring for the family and also saying goodbye to the house because it's going to be changing over to another owner shorter than they thought, sooner than they thought.
Yeah,
I
there's definitely it's not a cheery episode to be
know.
starting with at all. It's a very heavy episode, I found, and I thought the filming style really captured the mood as well and kind of the colors and the settings of the scene and whatnot behind it. So, Mindy, the book is pretty fresh in our minds. How did you feel watching the first episode that it aligned with the book?
Even just listening to Marigold's synopsis, which you did a beautiful job, by the way. But for me, in the beginning of the book, I don't remember Cassandra getting the letter from Isabella because in the book, of course, it takes place in 1840, whereas in the television adaptation, they moved it to 1830. I don't feel like it's entirely clear why they messed with the timeline. Do either of you have a clue why that
I don't
happened?
know.
Okay. But for me, I don't remember Cassandra showing up at the Reverend Fowl's bedside and hearing that dying wish that he wanted Isabella to be taken care of and to live with her sisters. And I guess, I know that later Cassandra starts searching for her letters and Jane's letters, but I kind of felt like in that opening scene in the TV version, it was more like she wanted to rush to Reverend Fowl's bedside because he was a connection to Tom, her her
Yes.
betrothed from the past, right? And that was just the kind of feeling I got while I was watching it. What did you two think? As how
I
closely it was aligned to the
definitely
book.
yeah. I definitely felt that part came across stronger of her, like, past connections. I felt the book leaned more into, like, she just was there on a mission to get Jane's letters. The show I really liked the way it jumped back in time, and it really felt me made me feel a bit more immersed in the flashback scenes than the book did. But obviously, it's much more visual, so it's easier to do that. But I really got this sense of like her reliving these memories was the prominent story that was being told, at least up to this point in the first episode, more than going after the letters, just as her sole mission for being there. Marigold, what did you think about that?
I felt the same. I think that there's just I think the flashbacks makes you just more interested in what's going. You kind of want to be like, okay, spend a little more time back then, as
Right.
you're watching it. So I don't know, maybe if because the books go back and forth, that's why you want to do it. But I think when you watch a show, sometimes you wish they'd like start with the younger days, go through all of those, and then catch up.
Mhm.
But they try to stay sometimes go with the book, so they go back and forth and the two
Yeah.
storylines, which
You
also
know, Mindy,
keeps you in.
oops, sorry.
It's okay.
Um, Mindy, I'm wondering if it was for casting purposes that they jumped back 10 years so they didn't have to cast
Mm.
an older of a looking Cassandra. That just popped into my head as we were talking about it.
Well, I think that's an excellent point because while I kept, she's quite as old and dottery. You know what I mean? Because in the book, especially there in the beginning between Isabella and Dinah, they both kind of, oh, Miss Austen, your room is over here. Are you lost again, dear?
Yeah,
They kind of treated her that way. Whereas in the film adaptation, there wasn't any need for that because
right.
she doesn't have that elderly look to her.
Yes. Yeah, I really love the actress. She's gorgeous that's playing Cassandra, in her older years. And I know we have slide coming up talking about this, and hopefully this isn't a spoiler, but is the younger Cassandra, is that played by the same actress that plays in the Netflix Persuasion, the hypochondriac sister? I can't think of her name right now, but she would like something all of a sudden she had some mannerisms and I was like, I have to look that up, but I didn't get a chance to look it up yet.
Now I
I
want
don't I read some things about meeting the cast, and I did not see that as
Okay.
part of it, so it doesn't mean it's not true,
That's
by the way.
just me
Okay.
and the impression that I had about her. But yeah, so I think we're all three were feeling on the first episode that there was some distinct differences between the book and the episode, not necessarily ones that we didn't like the choices of, but we could see where they made some very distinct changes in the way that they were playing across the few
I
bits.
I wonder if they made her younger also so it's more, so you can connect more, like, her I feel like the demographic is around, our age,
Mm,
to her age, like, in the show, so maybe they're
mhm.
kind of connecting, instead of having someone that's older, you kind of don't get that, disconnect there.
That's a great point as well.
Yes.
All right, what did we love about episode 1? Anybody have anything that really jumped out at them that you liked?
I liked the wit.
Mm,
I think that kinda goes showing that, Jane is clever and funny. Um, I think there's just a, small amount of it at first, so hopefully it will continue and grow, but, I thought that was, stayed true.
Mhm. Mindy, what about for you?
For me, it's such a personal thing, but I'm so drawn to the Austen sisters and their relationship because I was so close to my sister who is younger, who also passed away a few years ago. And so it's just one of those things where I especially when I was reading this, I was so connected to Cassandra and, losing Jane. That was her person. That was the person she was supposed to get to do life with. And I felt like the book did such a great job of that. And then I really feel in the adaptation, even in just this first episode, that they have made it clear that is something that's so special about these two women is that they have this amazing sisterly bond, and so I thought that was beautifully done.
That scene when they walk in to tell Cassandra what's happened to Tom and they're like, Jane, we need you to leave. And she's like, no, I'm staying. That scene was just so
Yes.
emotionally charged when you see her, like even just her standing behind, like she was not gonna leave her sister because that was her person to take care of and to watch over her if she needed her and whatnot. That was like a great scene, I thought.
Mhm.
I
I
agree.
did wanna touch on one of the things that I enjoyed was the costuming,
Mm.
in it, and I think sometimes when I don't notice the costumes that it's a good job because if they jump out at you, then it's normally, it's either over the top or something is making it, and these were I thought I did notice the one scene when they were laying on the bed talking to each other and, she says, "Now we're gonna all be sisters," and they had really interesting color choices, and I'm guessing they were highlighting that fabrics were being dyed differently and coming in from other places, and that it was like a bright teal color that they both had. James was plain and Cassandra's had a print to it. And I thought that was interesting, like bolder choices, but still very true to the time period.
Mhm.
How simplistic the stockings. Like I felt very um happy with the choices that they made in the costuming design. Um,
It's
I
funny
I I enjoy that aspect of the show.
It's funny you mentioned that. I thought the same thing when I saw 'em, like, wow, they're both wearing the same color tone, and I wonder if that was to reiterate how, like, they're close and tied together. Because I have a sister, we sometimes wear the same shirt. We'll show up to somewhere, we're like, "Really?" And it's just like, you just, connected, so, I felt that's what I thought when I started, like, "Oh, wow, they even dress alike." They find, like, the same similar things they enjoy, so
And you
It's
two
funny.
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
It's funny that you both noticed the costumes because I was thinking one thing I loved was in this scene where they're trying to dress up Mary for James and they've got the very heavy caked powder on her face. That was a detail, like expressly from the book where she has the pock marks and they're trying to cover it up. And I feel like when you read something like that, it is very difficult to visualize on your
Mhm.
own. But I thought that was really, really well done in the adaptation.
Yes,
I
I agree. Yeah, there was a lot to enjoy about this, the way that they filmed the scenes and the camera angles, and it's something I think as we rewatch we'll catch even more, but on the first watch I really enjoyed it. And it's fun to hear both of you talk about how you really connect to the story because I don't have a sister, so I feel like I see it from a completely different perspective. And I do have a brother, but it's not the same as dressing alike or having that confidence, the secrets that you tell, late at night and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
so I think this show will really resonate with people that, as much as they love Jane, they also have sisters and want to have something to watch that highlights that sisterly connection with people. Was there anything that surprised you? Anybody have anything that jumped out? It was a surprise. Minnie, I see you smiling. Is that because you have a surprise or you're thinking about it? I think Minnie's froze,
Oh,
or maybe she
yeah.
can't hear.
Are you are you both there? I you both keep going in and out and freezing. Sorry. So
That's okay.
I'm not
We
sure. Are
keep
we good?
losing. We keep losing you a little bit. Marigold, I'll let you go ahead and see if you have anything surprising. We'll see if Minnie pops back on for us. At least she looks happy.
Uh,
I know. I think the only thing I found is right, I remember in the book there was a Martha was in there, or there was another character that I think I didn't see in the show so far, so I wasn't sure if they're gonna bring it in later or, is it Martha? I forget who the character is, or maybe it was another show. Oh, never mind. I didn't find much surprising other than that, it is a very different adaptation in the book on certain parts, but I think it still flowed, so it didn't surprise me because the adaptations are gonna change little things and make them their own.
Exactly. Mindy, every time you froze, you were smiling. So we were saying that you froze, you looked great. You had a smile on your face every time. Was there anything that surprised you throughout the first episode so far?
Oh, no.
Oh no, I think she froze. I'll go ahead and agree
I'm
with you,
not sure what's
Marigold.
happening. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, didn't find too much surprising. I thought it stayed true enough to the story that nothing felt jarring or taking me out of what I was kind of already expecting for it. And stylistically, as we said, I think their choices were all pretty much how I expected everything to look. So yeah, there was nothing that shocked me while I was watching it. Mindy, we'll try again and see if your if your internet's cooperating now. If you had anything that was surprising to you. I'm guessing she's on a little bit of a delay.
Oh, no.
Reality versus fiction. Do you think any of this story is true? What are you feeling? I think we are enough Austen fans that a lot of us perhaps know a little bit at least of the story of Jane and Cassandra. But what did you feel about it?
I like seeing the real things acted out, so it always is nice to actually see what you envision when you learn about someone, but, it's hard when you start seeing how they fill in holes, because then you're like, "Wait, is this true?" And then I'm always like, "Don't remember this." Like, don't think it's real because then you'll go tell somebody, "Oh, this happened," and it didn't happen.
That can be the tricky part with like even historical fiction of letting the even though I love having gaps filled in, not taking it as truth and realizing that it's an author kind of creating the story around some historical events. That's what I do like when they add in the notes in the back that say like this is what actually took place and these are the liberties that it took. Um is fun to be able to kind of cross reference that. Mindy, we'll see if you're back with us and if you can hopefully hear us now.
Well, actually can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think okay. Well, you know what, Melissa, I saw your post out to the Jane Austen fan club, and this is what inspired me to add this slide. And I was really interested in what other people responded. Do you want to share some of the things that they said?
I have yet to go back and see. I was letting it kind of build for a little bit. So I haven't revisited. I thought next week I would talk about it after we get a couple episodes in and see once we get a little more into the story. But if you have any that you saw, go ahead and share.
I'm sorry, it keeps cutting in and out. I'm not sure. I think what I did hear both of you say is that it's kind of fun if you just remember that it's historical fiction and the author isn't necessarily trying to recreate reality.
Absolutely. Yes. Just go back. I think it's a great habit to get into with anything that we consume, whether it's media, things online, historical fiction books, and take a moment and research what is actually fact around this and like educate yourself and then realize that the rest is a fictionalized retelling of it just to help you get immersed in the world around the characters. And then I always find I learn more than I plan to because then I start researching a little bit more and a little bit more and then it just kind of snowballs to what you can learn about the time period or the characters themselves. All right, Mindy put together a few fun facts for us. So the cast of Miss Austen fun facts. We have Keely Hawes, who plays Cassandra Austen, is married to Mr. Darcy. How cool of a fact is that? When I saw that, I was like, I would never have known that. So Mindy, thank you for giving us that fun fact to learn about her. Um, and she looks so much younger.
I found all of
Honestly.
these facts on PBS Masterpieces website.
I
So
love that. So cool. It kind of reminds me seeing her pictures side by side there of like when you see the Golden Girls pictures of what they would look like if they had modern hairstyles because she looks so much older in Miss Austen than she does in her gorgeous photo that she has from on the red carpet.
They really do a good job in makeup.
Absolutely, and aging her. Our next fun fact from the cast is Phyllis Logan and Kevin McNally play Mr. and Mrs. Austen in the show, but are also married in real life. How cool is that fact as well? Like they would have great chemistry playing husband and wife since they're already married, and they're a cute couple. I love the way they're like snuggled up to each other in that photo there.
I agree.
All right, and then we have another fun fact. Calum, is that how you pronounce that? Anybody correct me if I'm not correct on that. Lynch, and Max Irons are real life cousins. So we have a lot of connections going on in this, which is super cool. I bet they have a fun set. I want to spend a day while they're filming with them hanging out. All right, and this is why is Cassandra Austen determined to find the letters her friend Jade wrote to her friend Eliza. So we kind of see a little bit happening throughout the episode of her really wanting to find those letters. Well, I shouldn't say we all know, but if for those of you that have read Jane Austen's letters, we definitely don't have all the letters that she wrote, and I think there's general speculation as to why was she so determined to get those. Mindy, let's see if you're back with us and if you can hear. What are some thoughts that you have
yeah.
around that?
Well, when I was looking at that, while I think it's close to what's happening in the episode, and it certainly is what I I also feel like in the TV adaptation, we definitely, as a viewer, see Cassandra sort of working for her own purposes, where it's like,
Yeah.
I need to find the letters Jane wrote Eliza because she tells my love story in them, and I don't want people to read my love story, right? And I definitely feel like in the book, it's not quite that same thing. It's more she wants to protect herself, but she also wants to protect Jane's personal thoughts.
100%. Yeah,
A little bit
especially
different.
leaves us like that at the end of the episode of her seeing the misrepresentation of her finding out the news and how, and like that really gives the sense of like she doesn't want other people reading her personal stories, and that she I think also doesn't want them out there because she doesn't think that they were told accurately either, so she's kind of protecting herself that way. Marigold, did you get that sense as well?
I think in even in the part of the show, it mentions how she says, um, her books should speak for themselves. So I feel like that's what her mission is to make sure that people don't get a different Jane than she should be remembered for. So I'm sure again, like I know you're not a sister, but like sisters talk to each other, share things, even cousins feel, she may have not said anything, but divulged information that maybe or made a witty joke or something that wouldn't be into character for her stories. And I think Cassie wanted to like protect her and make sure that nobody gets this different side of her other than her books and what she stood for, and she's
Mhm.
just wanted to protect her.
Absolutely. I think there is something to be said about leaving a little bit of air of mystery to um, a person from history that we can then kind of all loosely interpret into our ideal person without knowing too much about them. What is the saying about you don't get too close to your idols? They'll
Yeah.
kind of let you down when you get to know them. And like we have enough to form an idea of who we think Jane Austen was, but we can each kind of see it through our own lens because we don't have the complete picture of who she was. So maybe that was planned, unplanned. We'll never, I don't think, know for sure, but it certainly seems as though that there was some intention behind getting rid of some of the letters at least. And then we have in 1830, Cassandra Austen arrives in Canterbury after hearing of her friend Eliza's husband's impending death. But her true motive becomes clear. Cassandra is searching for letters her sister Jane wrote to Eliza throughout their friendship. And obviously, that's going to be a main point throughout the rest of the episode. So we will see how she fares in her search for the letters while she's there. I think it was a lot of fun to discuss the first episode. I'm really enjoying that we get to have conversations around them and dive a little deeper. And I'm excited as the episodes go on and we get more into the story to see, does it stay closer to the story? Is it really going to start to kind of take on a life of its own? What direction do they take with it as we continue to watch? What do you think? Early thoughts, Marigold? Do you think you're going to be pretty happy with this series all the way through?
I know, me, I always like has to stay true with the book, but sometimes when it's like an adaptation of something that's not like, I don't know, like it's gonna be made a certain way for movie and updated and keeping it fresh for TV. It doesn't really bother me. I don't know why. If it's someone else's, it's okay. Jane Austen's, I'm like, no, no, no. But I don't think it's going to be horrible. I think the storyline will stay, fluid with the books as we go through. It'll be interesting to see how close.
Yeah. Mindy, what do you think?
I am really excited to see more from Isabella's character. I adore Rose, the actress who plays her. I was a big fan of Game of Thrones, and she was on that television show, that television adaptation. But when I think of Austen-esque characters, I do picture her as someone who could play, one of Jane Austen's characters. So I think it's great that she is in this adaptation, and I can't wait I'm hoping that the scenes from the book where Cassandra reads aloud to Isabella from Persuasion, I hope that they do thread that in there because I think it's, it is a parallel to some things happening in her own life. And I think that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the costuming and see where they take it. I always interested in how many outfit changes that they have for characters as well. I know that's like a really small detail, but Miss Scarlet and the Duke, if anyone watched that PBS show, she really, I loved the fact that she re-wore her outfits throughout. And I thought that was such a small detail, but like, somebody there like really loves history and they got that didn't have 20 outfits to be choosing from all the time. So we will see if Jane rewears her teal dress coming up soon or how far we're jumping. I know it's a little different because we're jumping throughout time periods in this one, so it's not day to day living, but um it's gonna be fun to see what they do with it.
Absolutely.
Marigold, I take it you're a fan of Miss Scarlet and the Duke.
I miss the Duke, but I do kind of like the new guy, so we'll see.
I haven't watched it yet, and I just had a call with someone for work, and, she was like, "I couldn't stand the Duke, but I'm so glad he's gone," and I was like, "Oh, how could you not like the Duke?" She thought he was a bit too intimidating, which,
I can see that. At first, I was very upset he left, but the new guy's kind of filling the void. It's okay. The
okay.
storyline is good with it, so.
I'm gonna go check out the new guy then and see how he fares. So, for anyone that would like to join us for our book club in the community, this month we are reading Longbourn, which I think is pairing really well with the Miss Austen conversation and really going to make for some fun conversations along the way as well. So, don't forget to join us next week. We'll be discussing episode 2. So, go ahead and watch that so you can catch up with us. There is a little preview, I think a teaser, Mindy. Is that on the PBS website that they can watch?
Yes, that's YouTube or PBS website. It did appear at the end of episode 1. So for those of you who caught it quickly and said, "Oh no, I need to see that again," which is what I did, there's plenty of places to catch it.
Perfect. Well, we will see everyone back here next week. More conversations. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Did you enjoy the first episode? Are you eager to catch more? Did it stray from the book for you? Did you think that it hit all the highlights that they needed to hit? And we will see you again soon for more bookish and Miss Austen discussion. Everybody take care and we'll see you again soon. Bye.